Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Nowadays I'm exploring the Inibuilds Airbus A320 Neo, and in this regard I'm making a series of videos. This is a complete tutorial for this plane in which I will tell you how to start this plane from the cold and dark state, how to fly this plane on autopilot and ILS approach and landing. It is a very good plane for the beginners. If you want to learn how to fly the twin jet plane, then in this simulator, this is the best plane to begin with. Let's begin this video by getting an introduction of the cockpit. If you're new to this plane, there are a few things that you want to know. This is the overhead panel, and it has got controls for the fuel, for the electrical systems, and then again for the lights and air conditioning. And then there are many other controls which are over here on the overhead panel. Then this is the FCU, which is the flight control unit. It has the functionality of the autopilot. So you control autopilot from this panel. You can set the speed, the heading, the altitude, and your vertical path. Then this is the EFIS. It is on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, EFIS is electronic flight instrument system. You can change the type of information you want to see on the navigation display by interacting with these two units. Now, there are so many screens. This is the primary flight display, which is known as the PFD. Then this is the navigation display, which is known as the ND. And then you have two ECAM, the upper one and the lower one. It is electronic centralized aircraft monitor. It has information about the engine, the alert system, and the flight warning system. Then on the pedestal, you have two MCDUs, which is known as the multifunction control and display unit. It actually interacts with the flight management guidance system. Then you have the port for the communication. Now, this is the port for the weather. And then you have your transponder over here. This is the lever for the speed brakes. And this is the lever for the flaps. Then you have parking brakes. Thrust levers are there. And plus, with the help of this control, you actually set the pitch of the plane, whether to pitch up or down. So now let's do some preliminary pre-flight checks, and just make sure that the wipers are off. Obviously, you don't need them right now, because as soon as you turn on the batteries and get the external powers, the wipers will start running. So you don't want wipers. Then make sure that the thrust lever is in the idle position, and plus the speed brakes are disengaged and the flaps are fully retracted. You have the parking brake engaged. So there are a few things that you have to check even on your controller. Just make sure that everything is off, and plus the engine switches are off, and this control switch for the engine is also in the middle. And that's it. Now let's get some power in the plane and go through the pre-flight procedures. So this plane has got these buttons for the battery. So first of all, you have to get the battery, and then you can see that there is some life in the plane, because you need battery to run the systems and do some radio communication. Then you have external power already available. If this is not available, then there is an electronic flight bag, which is over here. And you can go to the electronic flight bag, go to the ground, and toggle GPU. So right now the GPU is connected with the plane. So that's why it says external power available. If the GPU was not connected, then you will connect it, and then you will get the external power. Now you have to press this button, because you cannot keep on running on the battery, because the batteries will just drain out. Just make sure battery 1 and battery 2 shows 28.4 volts. Otherwise, if you don't have the external powers, the batteries will drain. That's it. Then there is another control over here on the overhead panel, which is ADIRS. This is Air Data Initial Reference System. It is actually a system which gets the GPS coordinates, and the plane knows, or the flight management guidance system knows where the plane is. So it's for the GPS. You have to set it to nav. So let's set it to nav. And now your primary flight display and the navigation display will start working. There is this one setting in the tab. If I just take you through this setting, let me just get rid of it. You will see this is the iris alignment. And I've set it to instant. If you do it fast, I think maybe 2-3 minutes, and real it takes 7 minutes. So I always keep it at instant, but if you want to have some realism, then you can set it to real. Now, as we have power in the plane, so it's time to basically get the flight plan from SimBrief, and then configure the MCDU for the flight. There is a detailed video on my channel in which I have told you how to make a flight plan. So if you're not really familiar with the flight planning procedure, I would recommend you to watch that video. The link is given in the description, because right now I will just go through this procedure of the startup, not going into the details of the electronic flight bag and the MCDU. So over here on the electronic flight bag, let's get the flight plan from SimBrief. And now we have the flight plan. You can do the ground services right now. You can toggle jetway, and you can toggle catering and luggage. You can open the door. Right now you can see the jetway is getting connected. Great. And plus you can just open the front cargo, and then you can get the luggage. If I just let's see. Yeah, the luggage is there now. So you have the luggage, and then you have the catering. It's not working. I don't know. Anyhow, just to give you an introduction. So that's how you do it. Then you have to get the payload information. You can get it from the SimBrief. And I will be carrying full passengers. The maximum capacity is 186, but right now it's 180. Then this is the maximum capacity for the cargo. And right now for this flight, it's 2,440 kilograms or 2.5 tons. And then you have fuel, which is 5 tons. That's it. You can even enter the zero fuel weight. Like zero fuel weight is actually the weight of the plane without the fuel. So you can just enter a value, and it's advisable not to do it. Get it from SimBrief, because then you will get the right fuel calculations. Because obviously, if you're carrying more weight, you'll be needing more fuel. So that's why just stick to SimBrief. Now, once you press this button, apply load, it will ask you whether you want instant, fast, or realistic. So I'll go with the instant, just to save time. Now this is the live gross weight of the plane, which is 65 tons or 65,262 kilograms. The dry weight without the fuel, without the passengers, it's 42,500 kilograms, and the maximum weight is given. Now the zero fuel weight and the fuel weight, they actually combine and make the live gross weight. That's it. And then you have to get the takeoff information for the takeoff performance calculation. So conditions, just sync them. And for this flight, I will be using runway 27 right. And the weight, let's get it from here. It's 65,262. So I can just enter 65,262. That's it. And the air conditioning will be on. Anti-ice is off. Force toga off. And then I will calculate. There is one thing I would just like to mention, that if you don't know how to connect this tab or the electronic flight bag with your SimBrief account, you can go to this settings and you can get your pilot ID from SimBrief, and you can just enter it over here. Now it's time to configure the MCDU. So let's go over here, and let me just get a comfortable view for the MCDU, and let's configure the MCDU. So first of all, I will go with the initialization and init request. There is a procedure that has to be followed in order to configure the MCDU, which is known as diff strip. This is data, initialization, flight plan, secondary flight plan, then RadNav, initialization B, and performance. So this is the flow that you have to go through. And just get rid of all these errors by pressing clear. Okay. Now you have the flight information. Cost index is 80. Cruising altitude is 350. For the iris initialization, you can see this is there. If the iris initialization is not complete, then you will see this option over here, align on ref. You have to press this. But as it was instant, that's why this is not shown over here. Then you have the wind information. This is for the climb, and this is for the descent. Go to previous phase. If you want to request wind information, you can press this option, and it's there. Now it's time for the flight plan. So let's go to the flight plan and select the departure. The departure is 27 right, and DET 2F. This is the SID that I will be using for this flight. Insert, and for the arrival, I will be landing on runway 7 right. Just looking at the flight plan, ILS 7 right, and York 5R. This is going to be the star, standard terminal arrival. Insert, and let's look for a flight discontinuity. If it's there, let's delete it. Now secondary flight plan, I can copy the secondary, the active flight plan on to the secondary flight plan, and if I want to make any changes to the secondary flight plan, I can just make it over here, and then I can make it the active flight plan. Now for the RadNav, already the VR frequencies for the Heathrow Airport are given, and in case of GPS failure, I can just track VR. I will be doing a video for this plane in order to tell you how to do VR navigation with Airbus A320. Plus, I also have a video on my channel regarding the VR navigation, and I've used Cessna 152 and 172 for this. So if you are interested in VR navigation, you can just go and watch those videos. I will also give you the link in the description. Then right now the ILS frequency for Heathrow is not coming for Frankfurt, but as soon as I think I'm there, this will also start appearing over here. Then it's time for the initialization B. Let's go over here, get the zero fuel weight, get the block fuel, and that's it. It will do all the things. That's it. And now it's time for the performance. So let's go to the tab, and over here for the takeoff, just send this to FMGS, which is Flight Management Guidance System, and now confirm to data. Just press this option and you have the takeoff data uplink. That's it. So these were the procedures that you had to do for the electronic flag bag and the MCDU. Now it's time to configure the EFIS and the FCU. Let's go through the pre-flight procedures. So first of all, you have to set the altimeter. What's the weather? So it is the QNH is 1026. So let's enter 1026 over here. And now you can see that the altimeter is getting adjusted. Then it's time to turn on the flight director. And flight director is actually, let me just clear this this thing, because right now I also have to adjust the altimeter over here, 1026. And that's it. Now you have to turn on the flight director. The flight director is needed for the autopilot, and now it's there. As soon as I've turned on the flight director, you will see all the speed information and the heading disappears, and everything goes into this option. You see these 3 dash and plus a circle. This is actually the manage mode. What will happen is this, that as soon as you take off and you turn on the autopilot, the plane will actually follow all the constraints related to speed and to the related to altitude, and plus your navigation. So it will just follow the flight path, the lateral one and the vertical one. So that's why the flight director is required. But you can always take it from the manage mode to the selected mode. 2 modes. Once I will be doing this autopilot tutorial, I will just tell you how to use the manage mode and the selected mode. So now it's in the selected mode, you can set the speed. Similarly for the heading, you can do this, and that's it. So flight director is there. Set the altitude. Let's set it to 10,000. And let's see if there is any constraint during the flight. So you also have to do some briefing regarding the departure. So this is the Heathrow, and this is Frankfurt. And 27 right is the runway. This is the right one. Let's get the charts. Departure for 27 right and DET. Let's change the orientation and just bring it over here. Yeah, So now this is the complete chart for the departure, and the one that I'm using is DET2F. So let's look for this. This is DET2F. So right after the takeoff, if I zoom in, heading of the runway is 269 degrees. You'll take a left turn, and then your heading is 136 degrees. Then you will, from here, Epsom, you will turn heading 091, and you will keep on flying in this direction. Till this point, there is a constraint for the altitude, which is 6,000 feet. So the plane will actually follow this. Interesting. So right now, I've set it to 10,000. If I'm now, it's in the selected mode, and as soon as you see the circle, it's in the manage mode. So now, if I want to climb using the selected mode, I can just keep 6,000 over here, and then after this point, then I can further climb. But for this flight, I will be using the manage mode, so that's why I can set it to 35,000, and then I will let the autopilot do all the working, because it's now in the manage mode. So during the takeoff, it will just go through all the constraints and will honor them. That was a nice one. Okay, so let's also adjust the altimeter over here. And the secondary display 1026. Now, as you have done all the configurations, so it's now time to go to the before start procedures. So before start, make sure that the seatbelt signs are on, because now the fueling is done. If the fueling is not complete, you don't turn on the seatbelt signs, but if the fueling is complete, you can turn it on. And then no smoking sign, it's on, and arm the emergency exit lights, set it arm. Now, there are some certain lights that you have to turn on right now. I will just take you through all these lights. This is actually a strobe. A strobe is a white light that blinks, and it tells the other planes in the night and plus in the morning that there is another plane in the air. So strobe has to be set to auto, because if you cannot turn it on right now. It's only required when you are on the runway, and after the takeoff, during the flight, it's required. After landing, it's required, and after landing on the runway, it's required. But as soon as the plane exits the runway, then the strobe is not required. So if you keep it auto, this Airbus A320 has got a very intelligent system. It knows which phase of flight you are in, and according to that, it keeps on turning on and off the strobe. Then there is a beacon light. You have to turn it on before you start the engines, because it alerts the crew that you're going to start the plane. So this beacon light can be found on the top and at the bottom of the plane. As you can see, this red light. It's required. And then you have the nav and the logo lights. Logo light is on the tail, and then on the wingtips, there are two lights, green and red. As you can see, this is green, and on the other wing, it will be red. Let me show you. So these lights are required. If any plane is looking at the red light, it knows this plane is going towards its left side. And if any plane sees a green light, it knows the plane is going towards the right side. So that's why the nav lights are required. Now you have the required lights for the startup. Just make sure that the cruise supply is on, the oxygen supply, and then the fuel pumps are on. The best thing about the Airbus cockpit is this, that if everything is good, all the buttons should be black. If there is any white light, just make sure you just press it and it's in the on state. And plus, now for the electric, generator 1, generator 2, it's related to engine. That's why it's showing fault, but as soon as I will turn on the engines, this will also disappear. And pack 1, pack 2, also for the air conditioning, as soon as the engines will start, this will also disappear. That's it. Now you have the fuel pumps. It's time to turn on the auxiliary power unit, because I will be disconnecting the ground power unit. So auxiliary power unit is required. Now you see the master switch. Just turn it on. Just wait for 3-4 seconds and then start. Now on the lower ECAM, you will see the APU. and just wait for it. It will just take some time and it will turn on. Now the flap is open. Bleed is, you can see, bleed is shown over here. This is basically a pressurized air used to start the engine. So as soon as the APU also starts, you have the APU bleed. So it's in PSI. You will know when to turn on the APU bleed as well. And plus, the APU generator will provide electricity. This is the rotation and this is the exhaust gas temperature. When the APU is on and available, you will see avail over here on the screen. Now the APU is available. That's it. And if you go over here on the overhead panel, you will also see avail is coming. And just turn on the APU bleed. As I told you before, this is pressurized air required to basically turn on the engines. Now you can see pack 1 and pack 2 also gone as I've turned on the APU. So before this, I said it will be turned on with the help of the engines. So kindly ignore that. So now pack 1 and pack 2 are on. And now it's time to disconnect the external power. It should get disconnected. I can just toggle it from here. So the GPU is disconnected. As you can see, toggle shocks and covers, they're also removed. I can toggle the jetway and this door will also close. I don't need this door. The GPU is really disconnected. Let's check. Yes, the GPU is no longer there. So it means it's disconnected. Now it's time to release the parking brakes and start the pushback. So I don't know, this thing has started happening in this simulator a lot. This mouse control is not really so good. People are actually complaining about it on my channel. And, for the last 2 days, I'm just also having this issue. You can see, I don't know why this thing is happening. I even set the settings for the graphics as well. Anyhow, just release the parking brakes as I've got a controller, TCA, Thrustmaster, throttle. So I will just turn off the parking brakes and then I will call for the pushback and aft. So now the pushback tug will move. Even now my mouse is inverted. Now it's okay. I don't know why this thing is happening. And plus, it gets stuck. And then you just have to move your mouse and then it moves. Kindly excuse me for that if it's getting a bit annoying. But I don't know, this issue is there. Now it's time to turn on the engine. So you see the switch, just move it to ignition start, just move it to right. And it's time to turn on engine 2. So now the engine 2 will start. Let's go out and have a look at it. I think it's time to stop the pushback. And just engage the parking brakes. That's it. This catering van is very near. Anyhow, I just saved it. So now engine 2 is getting started and you can see this information over here. Exhaust gas temperature is increasing and plus the rotation, N1, N2. Now, as I told you before, this is ECAM, electronic centralized aircraft monitor. You will see many things coming over here. Now let's start with this weather prediction system. It's off. So if I go here, I can turn it on by moving this switch, and now the weather prediction system is on, as you can see. Then you have to engage the ground spoilers. Ground spoilers are actually used in case of rejected takeoff. So if you want to stop, then they will come into action. So you have to arm the ground spoilers. And for the transponder, just move this, sorry, not the flap, just move this switch to on. The flap is already there. Let me just do it from my controller. Okay, that's it. So you have to set flaps to 1 plus F. As you can see, it's here in the takeoff configuration. So it has to be there. And then set the transponder over here to auto and move this to TARA, which is traffic avoidance. So this is also gone. Now let's turn on engine 1 as well, as engine 2 is now available. So I will also turn on engine 1. Now as you can see, engine 1 is also available. And that's it. So now you have both of the engines up and running. And if you just go over here into electrical systems, you will see that the power is coming from generator 1 and 2 from the engines, and plus you're also having power from the APU. So you can just right now just turn off the APU, because APU is not required during the flight. So I can turn off the APU and I can turn off the APU bleed. Interestingly, now you have to do the flight control test. So I have my yoke. So just check the elevators, the ailerons, and plus the rudder. So first of all, let's turn left and then right. Elevators up and down, as you can see, working, and plus the rudders. Although I have changed the sensitivity setting for the rudder on my controller, I'm using the Airbus side stick. But still, as soon as I hold it, you can see these rudders are shaking. Anyhow, we can just ignore this. The flaps are down by 1 notch, and we have to set the trim. So for the trim setting, it's you have to pitch up 0.7. So right now it's 0. So pitch up 0.7. You can just move your mouse over here, and you can see up. So just move it 0.7. That's it. And now it's time to turn on the lights. But before this, this is something really good. And this is a very good example. Now you can see, as soon as I was configuring the plane for the taxi and plus the takeoff, the plane automatically knew that what kind of state this plane is in. So according to that, it has started to show me some warnings and some alerts as well. So right now, this is basically the takeoff configuration. It's telling me that the auto brake is not set to max. So if you look at this side of the plane, you will see auto brake set to max, because it's required in case you want to reject the takeoff for RTO, a rejected takeoff. So that's why it has to be set to max. Now everything is good. Parking brake is engaged. APU was available, but now it's gone. And ignition, why it's coming? Because this switch, as you can see, it's in the ignition slash start mode. I have to just bring it to normal. So I will just move it to normal. And that's it. Ground spoilers are also active. So this gives you a very good indication. Takeoff configuration test. If I press this button, you can see takeoff configuration normal. So now everything is good. All you now have to do is just turn on the lights and do the taxi, and then take this plane up in the air. Now for the lights, this is actually the runway turn-off lights. They are actually on the left-hand side and right-hand side of the nose wheel. As you can see, these are the runway turn-off lights. You need these. And then you have the landing lights. You cannot turn them. You can turn them on right now. There is actually very interesting discussion on this. I asked actually one of the pilots whether to use these lights during the taxi and the takeoff in the night. Do you need them or you don't need them? What I got was this, that as per their airline, wherever that pilot was actually working, they said it's recommended to basically turn on all the lights, because once you have the lights, the plane lights are really bright, and even in the morning, other planes can see this plane from the distance. So you have the wing lights, you have the landing lights. Now they're on, and then you have the runway turn-off lights. So all the lights are now on. So you need these lights even during the morning. It's better to do it, make it a good practice. But mostly what I've seen over here in the flight simulation videos, people actually go for the taxi, and once they're on the runway, they turn it to take off, and that's what you can also do. So you have an option, as you can see. Only taxi light is there. Okay, that's it. So this video was related to starting this plane from the cold and dark state. Now I will be actually taxiing out. So let's release the parking brakes and let's start this flight. There are a few things that I just want to tell you before the takeoff. So what I'll do is this. I will just hold the brakes and give power to the engines up to 50%. And once the engines spool up, then I will release the brakes, and then I will bring my thrust lever to this flex to MCD. And you can see flex temp is also given 58 degrees centigrade, and the percentage is 78.4. So this is the force that will be required to take this plane up in the air. Now let's turn on the constraints and see if there are any constraints after this point. Or till this point, I have to be above 580 feet. This is one thing that I have to see. But anyhow, I will be climbing in the manage mode. So that's why the autopilot will be doing everything itself. I don't really have to do anything. Now you can see the V1 speed is also coming. And plus I will also see the VR speed, and plus the V2 speed is also coming, 152. There are two things you have to consider is the color. One is magenta, another one is cyan. Okay, so anything appearing in magenta color is as per the flight plan, as per the constraints, and anything appearing in cyan color is actually the user input, whatever you are giving, or rather you can call it the pilot input. Right now the plane is in the manage mode, so the speed is managed by the autopilot. It will automatically adjust the speed, and plus your navigation, which is your lateral navigation, LNAV. This is also being carried out by the autopilot. If I just bring it out from this mode, the manage mode, now it's in the selected mode. So the heading, whatever I will select, the plane will just fly accordingly. And if I just move the cursor over here and just press it again, it will just correct its heading wherever the plane is heading right now. So let's say if I change it and press it again, the heading gets adjusted. And if I bring my cursor over here and you see the up arrow, and if I press it, it goes back into the manage mode. So this trick is for all the controls for the speed. Again, if you see the up arrow, just press it. You go in the manage mode. When you see the down arrow, you press it. You go into the selected mode. So let's get the speed in the manage mode, the heading in the manage mode, and plus the altitude in the manage mode. So if the altitude is in the manage mode, what it means is this, that your vertical path will be decided by the autopilot as per the inputs. So it will follow all the constraints. So during the takeoff, I will see whether the plane follows all these constraints or not. For the takeoff, actually, when I will bring back, pull back on the yoke, for the takeoff, I will just try to go up to 10 degrees, and then afterwards I can go up to 15 degrees for the takeoff. So that's it. So now let's release the parking brakes, and let's take this plane up in the air. So hold the brakes and give power to 50%. Wait for the engines to spool. Release the brakes and move the thrust lever to flex to temp. Just trying to keep it in the middle. Now this one, and plus you see this arrow, it means this is the speed at which you should be rotating. Now pull back on the yoke just by 10 degrees. That's it. Positive rate of climb. When you get it, just gears up. And that's it. So now in order to save time and tell you more things about this plane, let's turn on the autopilot by pressing this button. And now everything will be done automatically by the autopilot. I'm the pilot. Okay. So now you can see auto throttle is automatically activated. So it means that the thrust will be calculated and will be adjusted by the autopilot itself. And now move the thrust lever to climb. So you have to move your thrust levers to climb to this option. So just bring it back, and now it's set to climb. That's it. Now this is the speed at which you can retract the slats. Yeah, see, I think there is some error in the servers today. You're getting this error as well. So I can just like retract the flaps because now I am above the S speed. Now this is the green dot speed. The plane will actually go more than this green dot speed because this is the speed at which you can fly without any flaps and slats. They actually provide lift to the plane. So that's why you need flaps, but as soon as you take off, you have to retract the flaps. So that's why this is required. Now there is an altitude constraint appearing over here. Before the takeoff, you must have noticed that 35,000 was coming because I have set the altitude and the plane has to go to 35,000. But as per the flight plan, there is a constraint at 6,000. So that's why the plane will actually stabilize at 6,000. This is coming in the magenta mode, which means magenta color, which means that the plane will follow this constraint. Now, this part of the private flight display is your flight mode annunciator, which is also known as the FMA. And it has some information, which I will just tell you right now. So right now, the speed is managed by the autopilot. Altitude constraint is there. Yeah, error accessing live air traffic data. Today, I think there is some problem in the service because, I was making a video and the movement was really bad. I was having, very jerky graphics, but now they are fine. And plus the plane is in the nav mode, which means that the heading is set by the autopilot, or which is also your lateral navigation. So there is this constraint for 4,000, and then there is another constraint plus 5,000, so the plane will climb again after this point. And then at this point, it's flight level 60, which is 6,000 feet. So the plane will automatically climb. What I'll do is this, that I will wait for DET to come, because at this point the plane will be at 6,000 feet and then it will start the climb, and then I will tell you how to basically switch between the selected mode and the managed mode and how you actually fly this plane using autopilot. This is actually getting very annoying. During the recording, this thing is happening wonderful. Anyhow, just issues at the beginning. Now you have to... Yeah, the QNH is blinking, so it means you have to bring it to standard. So bring your mouse over here. As soon as you see the down arrow, you just press it and change the barometric pressure to standard, and plus also do it for the secondary display. Now it's in the standard, which is 1013. Now you can see the plane is again climbing. As you can see, climb is coming, and it's going to follow the altitude constraint, and that's it. So till this point, the plane will be at 6,000 feet, and after this point, the plane will start to go up to 35,000 feet. Now the plane is there at DET, so let's go over a few things over here on the navigation display. So right now, you can see after at DET this arrow is coming, white arrow. It means the plane will start to climb from this point, and you can see this magenta circle as well, which means that the speed will increase, because below 10,000 feet the plane cannot go more than 250 knots, and above 10,000 feet the plane can go more than 250 knots. So the speed will also increase. So this is how you also read different information on the primary flight display. There is another arrow, if I can see it's shown over here or not. This is actually your top of descent. This is the point where you have to start the descent. And there will be top of climb as well. Yeah, over here. So I think as soon as that... Now you can see the plane has started to climb. Thrust lever is at climb. That's good. And now the plane is actually going for this target instead of constraint. Now altitude is coming in cyan color. It means that the plane is now going up to this flight level 350, and there is no constraint. And now you can see this another arrow coming, cyan arrow, which shows you the top of climb, that at this point the plane will level off. Now there are a few things I would just like to tell you. Let's first of all adjust the altitude to 10,000 feet, and now you can see the vertical speed is also appearing over here. If I press this, the plane will level off, and if I increase the vertical speed will be adjusted. Right now you can see that it was at almost 2,200, but now it will drop to 1,000 feet per minute. Vertical speed is now controlled by me. So this is how you actually take the plane out of the managed altitude mode, and you do the selected mode. If you want to do it again, let's do it again. When you see the up arrow, just press it. The plane goes in the managed mode, and you can see it's now climbing up. So what it does is this, that in this mode, it gives priority to the speed and keeps on adjusting the vertical speed. Right now you can see the speed is the priority, and the vertical speed is getting adjusted. So let me just again climb up to 20,000 and just again go in the managed mode. Now you can see that the plane has again started to go up. It's climbing, and now the speed constraint is also coming. Not rather a constraint, but this is the target speed the plane will be going at right now. This is 323 knots. So in order to attain this speed, you can see the vertical speed is now decreasing so that the plane gets up to this speed. And as soon as the plane is at this speed, then you can see the vertical speed will go up. So in the managed mode, the priority is given to the speed, and your vertical profile keeps on changing so that the speed remains constant. Because as the plane goes up, obviously the air gets thinner, so you have to adjust the vertical speed in such a way that your speed remains constant. Now let's see what happens if the plane reaches 323. Now you can see as the plane is achieving the steep speed, the vertical speed is getting changed. So at any time I can just move this this knob for the vertical speed and just bring it to the managed mode, sorry the selected mode, and I can adjust the vertical speed myself. Sorry, it went negative. So I can set it to 1,000. Now you will see it will get adjusted. Again, let's do it. Now it will work. You have to bring your arrow over here, and once you see the up arrow, just press it, and it will just adjust it to 1,000 vertical speed. So that's how you use the vertical speed. I will be also using it during the descent if the speed is not controlled. So then I can just do it. But in this regard, right now the priority is given to the vertical speed. So what if I go up to, let's say, very aggressive climb? Let's say if I keep it at 4,500. Right now you can see vertical speed plus 4,500 is appearing over here, which means that now the plane will actually give priority to the vertical speed and it will disregard the speed. Now you will see that, let me also adjust the altitude to 35,000. Now you can see the speed is decreasing because it's a very aggressive climb. So that's why the speed is getting compromised. So this option can be used if you want to have a higher vertical speed, but remember, if you're doing this, your speed will be compromised. So then you have to adjust the vertical speed in such a way that your speed either remains constant or it keeps on increasing. But let's give control to the autopilot and bring it to the manage mode. Now the autopilot will automatically adjust the vertical speed and will keep the speed constant as per the flight plan. Now let's talk about the heading mode. So right now the plane is actually following the flight path, which is your lateral navigation. If I just bring the cursor over here and just move the heading bug and change the heading to, let's say, 80 degrees, the plane will start to deviate from the flight plan as now I'm flying in the heading mode, and the plane will no longer follow the flight path. And you can see the flight path is now coming in dotted line, which means you are not in the nav mode, you are in the heading mode, and you are setting the heading yourself. But still over here, this indication is coming, but that by this point you will be at 35,000 feet, whatever is given by you. So let's have some deviation from the flight path and see what happens. Now let's say if I set the heading to 50 degrees, the plane is turning. If I bring my cursor over here also, and if I press it again in the selected mode, now you can see the plane is going towards this heading. So my flight path is here, and the plane is off the flight path. Now, can I follow the flight path? Let's say if I bring it to the manage mode, what will happen? You see, nothing is happening right now. So the plane will not follow this flight path. What I can do is this. Right now you can see the circle started to come. So it means that it will be in the manage mode, but I have to adjust the heading. So I have to intercept this line. So I will just change the heading, and I will turn towards this flight path. I will try to intercept it. And as soon as I will intercept it, the plane will actually start to follow this flight path. So that's how you basically switch between the manage mode for the lateral navigation and the heading mode. Right now it's open climb. Open climb means that it's not in the manage mode. I can just press this. Yeah, it's not actually working because right now I'm controlling the lateral navigation. So you can see open climb is here. Error accessing live air traffic data. Retrying. I think for the next video recording, I should turn off the this live traffic. This is getting a bit annoying. During the recording, you're getting these errors. Anyhow, kindly excuse me for that. And now you can see, just right before intercepting this line, the plane has actually started to turn left, and now it will follow the flight path. So if at any time you deviate from your flight path, so this is how you actually get back to the flight plan. Just keep it in the manage mode and keep on changing the heading, and that's it. Now for the speed, again, if I bring the cursor here, I see the down arrow key, I press it, and you will see the speed. Now if I reduce the speed, you can see the vertical speed will be adjusted accordingly, because now at a lower speed the plane can have an aggressive climb, or rather higher profile, the vertical profile for the ascent. I can further reduce the speed. Let's say if I keep it at 280 knots, you can see it's moving again. Because the plane actually wants to achieve the speed, so that's why it's going for a higher vertical speed. And once I achieve the speed, then it will be corrected. So that's how you actually change the manage modes and the selected modes. So if I just go back to the manage mode again, and for the altitude, if I again go in the manage mode, then everything will be in the manage mode, and the plane will continue its flight towards the path. I forgot to turn off the ground spoilers. You have to just push them down. Another thing, as I was just telling you about the altitudes and everything, you have to turn off the lights above 10,000 feet. So I'm just doing it right now. And you can just turn off the seatbelt sign. No smoking sign will remain on. And anti-ice is on because I'm flying in icing conditions. So that's why I was getting this error over here. So that's why I've turned on the anti-ice. You can see that soon the plane will be at the cruising altitude, and the top of descent is a bit near, not that far. It's a short flight for 1 hour, 25 minutes. So that's why I have to configure the MCU for the approach So let's start doing it again. Just ignore these errors because before this I was doing some experiments. Okay, let's go to performance, and over here you will see next phase. Go to the next phase, and now you will see approach. So now let's get the approach information, and let's go to the electronic flight bag, and over here you will see the weather information. So QNH is 1026 for Frankfurt. So let's enter 1026 for Frankfurt. 1026. This is the QNH. The temperature, it's morning, and the temperature is over here 3. So let's enter 3. And for the wind, heading and speed. So this is the wind, heading 220 knots and degrees, sorry, and 3 knots, 220 and 3. So enter this information here, 220/03. This is the format that you use. So this is the transition altitude. We'll just keep it like this. And the landing configuration, I will be going with the full flaps, and this will be here. And now let's get the information for the minimums. So let's bring out the charts, approaches, and for runway 7 right, I will be going for ILS. So this is the one. So now this is the approach plate for runway 7 right, and to be on the safer side, let's keep it at 530. This is actually the barrow, so 530. So at this altitude, you will hear this warning minimums. So if you think your plane is not aligned with the runway and you cannot go for the landing, then you can perform a go around and call it a missed approach. That's it. So let's see where I am right now. So I'm just close to the top of descent, and I have to descend to 4,000 feet in order to intercept the glide slope. So I will adjust the altitude over here and take it up to 4,000. And as soon as I'm near the top of descent, I will start the descent by bringing the cursor over here. When I see the up arrow, I will just press it, and the plane will start to descend. And now at this time, also open this page, RADNAV. Look at the frequency for this runway. So 110.95, you can see the MCD has already picked it up automatically, and the course is 66 degrees. IFSC, this is the identifier for the ILS. So this information is also there. Now the plane is near the top of descent. So let's start the descent. Bring the cursor over here. As soon as you see the up arrow, just press it, and then the descent will start. Now over here the speed will reduce. You can see this magenta color circle. Now as soon as I've started a descent, just look at the primary flight display. You will see this green circle. This is actually your vertical path. So if it's in the middle over here, it means the plane is actually following the descent profile. But if it's above, it means you are lower than the descent profile because I started a bit early. So the plane will actually try to keep it in the middle by adjusting the vertical speed. And now I'm higher than the descent profile. So vertical deviation also comes over here. If you look at this option, progress, you will see the vertical deviation. So it's 80 feet above the given vertical path. Now 30 feet. So it's trying to follow that. Another thing, you will now see your speed. This is your target speed, the triangle, and plus this is the upper and the lower range. So the plane will actually remain within this range, and it will just go for this target speed. Let me just look at the fuel that I will have. Estimated fuel on board 2.1, and right now I have 2.5, so it's good. I should have been carrying some extra fuel. Now, if you're a beginner, I will just take you through this approach plate. So this is for the runway 7 right. You have category 3 DME, category 2 DME, and category 1. So Category 3 is the highest level of precision for the ILS. So if you're going for category 3, you have to get the minimums from the company. The runway elevation is 327. So let me just look at one more thing. Yeah, it's not shown over here, but over here you can see DF 67660 is 660 coming at no, D660, no, altitude is coming, speed is there, 131 knots, and 670. So do D670 4,000 feet, and then yeah, DF 660, this is there, and then IFS 41, which is another point, having an altitude of 1630. Now you can see this is over here, just 4 nautical miles before the runway. So you see this magenta color star, which means the plane will be actually following this these all altitudes and plus the speed. So plane will be able to manage it. If it's not able to manage it, then it will not come in magenta color. So that's it. And plus you can see minus 3.0. This is basically the glide slope or the glide path, as you can see over here. This is actually 3 degrees pitch down. So minus 3 degrees. This information is also here. Now, for this minimum thing, instead of going for category 2, you can see R is coming RA. So you can also enter radio, so which is actually 101 feet above the ground. So what's the difference in baro and radio? Actually, baro is a way to calculate the altitude of the plane using the barometric pressure. And radio is actually radio signals emitted by the plane. So for this category 2, you can use radio as minimums, and it's like 100 feet above the runway because category 2 is more accurate. And for category 1, it's coming in the baro readings 530. So that's why I entered 530. And you can see the R for the radio, it's like 200 feet to 500 feet, 550 feet above the ground. So 530 is basically, you can see 530 minus 327, you will get the distance. So that's how you do it. So to be on the safer side for this flight, I have kept it at 530. But if you enter, let's say 101 as radio, then it's even good for category 2 because this plane is capable of carrying a category 3 approach. That's good. And now, if you look at your screens, this is your transition altitude, 5,000. So I've adjusted the transition altitude. Initially, it was 6,000. So I have kept it at 5,000 because we were short on time. So that's why I just entered the required information, and now I'm just trying to take you through all the things. It's very windy right now. I'm below the descent profile. Let's look at the progress. 2,000 feet. Great. So let the plane go like this. We have nothing to be worried about. Now another thing. Now on the performance page, you will see activate approach phase. So once the plane is below 10,000 feet, I will activate the approach phase. So what will happen actually when I will activate the approach phase? In this case, there is an approach speed that the plane has to achieve, which is given over here. 131 knots. So for the landing, the speed should be 131 knots, not more or less than that. So it has to be on 131 knots. So as soon as I will activate this approach phase, the plane will actually target the speed 131 knots, and it will try to reduce the speed to 131 knots. But there will come a point where you have a green dot speed where you cannot fly. Below that speed, you cannot fly without flaps or slats. So the plane will basically stabilize at that speed. When I will start extending the flaps, then oops, I'm really sorry. Actually, I touched the flaps on the controllers. Sorry for that. So as I was telling you, so I just touched this flap lever on my controller. So As soon as I will start extending the flaps, the speed will start to drop. So that's how you will manage the speed, and eventually the plane will be at 131 knots when you have the full flaps. Now you can see on the navigation display this magenta circle. This is actually the point where the plane will reduce the speed. So as soon as the plane will cross this point, it will reduce the speed. And now you can see, as the plane has crossed this point, the speed has started to reduce. And there is also a very good indication over here, which will appear. It will tell you that by which point the plane will be at the given altitude. But before this point, the plane has to be at 5,000 feet. Now you can see that as soon as the plane has started to reduce the speed, this dot is moving below, so it means you're going above the vertical path. In this case, at any time you can just activate the speed brakes, and you will see that the vertical speed will increase. So if I activate the speed brakes right now, and if I just take it like this, you can see the vertical speed has now increasing, and the plane is following the descent path. So the speed brakes are active, as you can see it on your screen. Nice graphics. Nowadays I don't know why I'm just struggling a bit with the graphics. I think maybe everything is streamed. That's why. If there's an issue with the internet speed, this thing happens. Anyhow, it's a good simulator. Few things maybe just get fixed over a period of time. As you can see in this video, constantly I'm getting this error that live traffic is not available. Now it's a lesson learned the hard way. Next time I will just turn it off. So now you can see that just keep an eye on the eCam. It's a very good habit, so you will see everything. When the plane is below 10,000 feet, I can turn on all the lights, the landing lights and this light, and plus turn on the seatbelt signs. That's it. Now I can activate the approach phase and confirm. So as soon as I've confirmed it, you can see that the speed will now further reduce. The vertical speed is getting adjusted, and the speed will now stabilize at this point. This is your reference for the flaps, different speeds. What can be your flap position, and 230 knots 1, 215 1 plus F, and then 200 knots 2, and so on and so forth. Now as I'm near the approach, what I can do is this. I can press this option, LS, and I will start seeing the localizer information, the frequency, the distance to the localizer, and plus I will also see these indicators on the screen to tell me the lateral alignment with the runway and plus the vertical alignment. So this should be above. It's not appearing right now. There is also a diamond which appears over here for your vertical path. If it's over here on above this center line, that means you're coming at a good altitude, and soon you will be able to intercept the glide slope. But if this diamond is below, it means you're coming at a higher altitude, and then you have to do something in order to intercept the glide slope at the right point. Now you can see this magenta color arrow is coming. This will show you that by this point the plane will be at the given altitude. The constraint is 5,000 plus, so here the plane can be at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, but it should not be below 5,000. And over here at this point, plus 4,000 again, but after this point at 4,000. There's no plus or minus sign, so it means at DF660 the plane has to be at 4,000. Now you can see this diamond has also started to appear. Now the color of the arrow has changed because it was showing you the managed altitude, but right now as it's showing me the selected altitude, that's why this is appearing. Now this diamond is in the middle. It will keep on appearing over here in the middle, because right now the autopilot is actually adjusting the descent in such a way that this diamond remains in the middle. So right now what I can do is this: I can extend the flaps. As soon as I will extend the flaps, the speed will reduce, but then you will see the vertical speed will reduce. So with this I can activate the speed brakes. Now the speed brakes are there, and I have extended the flaps to one position. Now you can see the vertical speed will increase, and this diamond will again go in the middle. So that's how you manage it if you see that you're going to miss the glide path or the glide slope. Now you can see this diamond is again going in the middle. I can further extend the flaps, as the flaps provide me drag and lift during the landing. I can get rid of the charts, and you can see now the speed is reducing, and I can go with flaps 3 and deactivate speed brakes, and then activate the ground spoilers, and then set the speed to medium, brake to medium auto brake, and this will be required during the landing. Now I have to change the barometric pressure. Let's see, it was 1026, so it's good, and also change it over here 1026. And at this point I can activate approach. Let's see what happens when I activate approach. So once I activate approach, the plane will actually now adjust its path to follow this lateral navigation, and plus it will also again follow this vertical path. Now you can also see category 3 single is coming. I can also turn on the flight director on this co-pilot side, and now it should be following this glide slope, but let me just start the descent. Let me just do it again. So at any time you can just manually adjust the vertical speed if you want, and then the plane will descend if it doesn't follow this glide path. Soon this diamond will be in the middle. I've just taken the plane out of this approach mode, and now once the diamond is in the middle, I will again hit the approach just to make sure that the plane follows the glide slope again. Now you can see the autopilot has taken control. I'll just lower the landing gears 6 nautical miles from the runway, go with the full flaps, and you can see the landing gears are now down. Full flaps, and now the plane is actually following this glide slope. I can also activate autopilot 2, and I will go for the auto land. As you can see, category 3 dual is coming, so you have to turn on both the autopilots in order to carry out an auto land. All I have to do is this, just like put the thrust in the idle mode and activate reverse thrust. So now everything is looking good. Now you can see GS is coming. It means the plane is following the glide slope. Category 3 ILS dual is active. Autopilot 1 plus 2 both are active. Auto throttle is in place, and the plane is following the glide slope. It will keep on following. At 500 feet. Oh, 400 now. So now land. Now auto land is active. 100, it will just give an alert. Minimums. Minimums. Now minimums there, 30 feet above the ground. I will the plane will actually now flare. I will bring the thrust to idle, and now reverse thrust activated. Speed is reducing below 80 knots, and between 80 and 70 knots I can deactivate the reverse thrust, and now I'm not doing anything. The auto brakes are in action and the plane will stop. Now I will press the brake button on my controller to deactivate the auto brakes, and now the control is in my hand. So that's how you perform an ILS approach and landing and auto land with this plane. I hope this was a useful video for you. I will be making more videos for this plane in which I will tell you how to perform an RNAV approach and plus a VOR approach, and plus many other things about this plane. So do subscribe to my channel, and I will just keep on bringing more information for you. Every time when I will upload a video, you will get the notification. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.